Yeah, absolutely.
So, I guess start with me talking about just your role with the staff, just for more audience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Day-to-day operation is like.
For sure, yeah. So I am one of our analysts on offense here. So I'm our assistant offensive line coach, offensive analyst as well. I came here originally with Coach Riley when he got the job here back in 23. He brought me along with him. And before coming here, I was at Mississippi State. Working with Coach Leach in a very similar capacity. So here, my job is a variety of different things. I work right alongside with Coach Riley and Coach Luke and the rest of our offensive staff, as well as Coach Sweeney, assisting them with whatever they need from a day-to-day operation standpoint, as well as just helping them in the best support role I can be to give them all the tools and resources that they need to put the best product on the field for our players as well. So,
You talked about Mike Leach.
Yeah.
Just researching for this little interview here.
Yeah.
Mike Leach, wow.
Yeah.
Just what was that like to work with himself?
Oh, it was awesome. I was very fortunate to work for him for 4 years at Washington State as well as Mississippi State. Taught me a tremendous amount just in regards to consistency, toughness, doing things your own way and being okay with that, and with all of that, it's unfortunate, he's no longer with us, but being able to work with him for all those years was such a blessing, and obviously it's, brought me to this point here in my career,
He's always been known for maybe it's a profound comment or insight
Yeah.
into the game. Was there something with you where you're like, okay, that's Mike Leach to a T?
Oh, it was funny, first day on the job with him at Washington State was awesome. I never forget. I was still in Kansas at the time, and I get off the plane in Pullman, Washington. It's about 1:30, 2 o'clock, getting ready for a team meeting, and Coach Leach is I'm literally as I'm walking into the building for my first day. Coach Leach is walking into the building for his start to his day because he walked to work every day when we lived in Pullman. And right then I'm like, all right, this is what you see is what you get with Coach, and being able to experience that for all those years was awesome.
I was not able to talk about the specifics recruiting-wise, but obviously, love to get your insight on specifically the offensive line and a big target focus with this 26 class. Just when you guys go out there and try to identify a certain type of player, obviously like versatile, freaks of nature, that you guys on that road going, we need this to be the future of our offensive line.
Yeah, the first thing you always try and identify with offensive linemen is toughness and how they play the game, and with that. And then as well as for the ability to also recruit here at Clemson. This place attracts really, really unique people, and obviously what Coach Sweeney's built here has been incredible, and it makes us going out to find guys easier because this place attracts a certain kid from a toughness, from a character, from a development standpoint, guys that want to be developed, and with that we've been able to identify that here. Under Coach Sweeney's leadership as well as Coach Luke's leadership and making that a key point for us in this 26 class.
What is it like working with Coach right now, just on the field, but off the field, recruiting?
Yeah.
Just stories I've heard, just that guy just lets his resume speak for itself.
For sure.
Just what is it like to see him work?
Yeah, no, that's the thing. You just said the word right there is work. Coach Luke is consistently working at recruiting, working at football, working at being the best version of himself. And then with that, it allows us and guys that work alongside him, he holds us to that same standard as well. And because of that, it's allowed us to have some immediate success under his leadership with that, as well as obviously shaping up for moving forward.
Talk about this offensive line. One theme with this team specifically is continuity.
That's right.
Something you don't see as much in college football. You guys interested in staying in one specific spot. What is it about this group that continues to seemingly only get better since Luke's arrival on campus?
Yeah, you just kind of hit the nail on the head right there. It's continuity. It's, the more you play with people, the more you play around people, the more you're going to trust them. And because of that, and guys want to be here and they want to work alongside each other because they put all that blood, sweat, and tears with each other, it only is going to propel them forward because there's that sense of continuity and trust and accountability that they can hold each other. All those things that Coach Sweeney really preaches to those guys, they've really bought into, and they own for themselves.
In an extended season, part of the challenge in that position is the one that accumulates the most bumps and bruises when you're trying to play a 17, 18 game type of season. What's maybe the challenge when you get right into fall camp? You want to have that intensity, but at the same time you're thinking, we're trying to preserve these guys from January, December. What is that challenge? How does that balancing act make this coaching staff?
Yeah, a lot of it stems from Coach Sweeney's leadership and how he organizes our practices, our practice schedules, as well as, hey, this is his vision for what he wants the whole practice to be. But then it's up to us as, coaches and support staff members to make sure that not only that vision happens, but also putting our players in the best position to develop them. And the only way to get better at playing football is by playing football. And because of that, it allows us to walk that fine line of, all right, this is where we need to grow in our toughness in our county, but also, hey, let's pull back, make this more of a teaching period as opposed to a true physicality period, and walk in that. So it takes a lot of planning, a lot of coordination, and both sides, the offensive, defensive side of the staff, being on the same page, wanting that to achieve that.
It feels like depth's more than ever now with that added stress that comes. We talked about some guys like Brandon Jacobs, who's going to 2025 offensive line class. So just what have you been able to gather with who's going to play behind him? Who's maybe a name that people are looking at?
Yeah.
You'll go, man, if there's an opportunity for him to step into this group, good things can
happen. Because we have such a older group and a group that's played a lot of ball together, it's allowed a lot of young guys like Braden and Easton and those guys to see what it's supposed to be like by looking up to Tristan and Blake and those guys, and hopefully, and Walker Parks, and hopefully those guys are putting Braden and Easton in position to, hey, put them in position to challenge, but also take the reins here moving forward. But there's the old quote of competition breeds success, and that's one thing that you can't be complacent with whoever's in the room, because you're always trying to get that. The guy behind you is always trying to get your job, and the more guys you can bring into that room to help with that or promote that, the better off you're going to be in that room.